What up guys, welcome back to Crafted Cars. Today I finally got some free time, so I figured now is the perfect opportunity to do an update video on the Acura NSX here. Now I tell you what, I've been sitting on footage from way back when this thing was in the townhouse garage, and I've compiled it all. I'll do a quick voiceover for you guys, and everyone's going to be up to speed on this thing. If you guys missed out on the early NSX videos, I do have a whole playlist on the channel. But to make a long story short, this thing was in Hurricane Milton down in Florida, where it got a lot of damage from the flood. The water was up past the headlights. I had water damage in the interior. You could imagine what it did to the electrical system. We've taken care of a lot of that, and now we're finally to the point where we're doing some modifications, so we're getting to the good stuff now. So yeah, we're gonna get you all up to speed here, and then after the compilation of all the little clips, then I'm gonna be talking about what I'm working on right now on the car and what's coming up in the near future. So I hope you enjoy. First of all, a big shout out to the salt water for seizing up both of the window regulators, leaving the window stuck in the up position. This created the perfect environment for mold growth in the car. I'm sure the mold really appreciated that. We obviously got to take care of this issue, so both these regulators are getting replaced. You'll notice I mark all the bolts with a Sharpie to make sure when I put the new regulator in, everything aligns up properly. That window alignment is super important on these cars that don't have the upper window frame. You'll see this on a lot of sports cars and supercars and stuff like that. But just because this is a high-end car does not mean this regulator is that difficult to replace. It's just like doing it on a Civic. While I'm in here, I might as well remove the compromised factory wiring and clean up all the debris that washed inside the door. I used some more mold killing spray to make sure that there's no more spores in there, and I cleaned up the window tracks as well. A lot of dirty grease in those. To keep this thing reliable, we're using new OEM Honda window regulators, and you can see when we hook it up to our 12-volt Milwaukee battery, we're able to roll this thing up and down again. Alright. Speaking of roll, it's time to get this car back to being a rolling chassis, which means the subframe's got to be reattached. This car's got 4 of them. The subframes in the front and rear have motor mounts, and the mounts on the side have spots for the lower control arms to slide in. Being that the upper control arm, the lower control arm, the wheel hub, and that toe arm are all aluminum, it's pretty easy for one guy to just install them all at one time, which is pretty awesome. And now we are ready to get this thing rolling again. So shout out to Nick from Towing Squad for helping us transport this thing to the shop. The first thing we did when we got to the shop was install the interior support bar. You'll notice it's not so rusty anymore. We had that rust sandblasted off, and this thing's zinc coated, and it looks real good. It really brings everything together, and it actually ties the car together. Structurally ties the car together. It took a little bit of tweaking to make sure all the bolt holes lined up, but man, it looks awesome in there. Now, you guys may have seen this technique done before, but this is my first time doing it. We're going to be using dry ice to remove the sound deadening from the driver's side footwell. When you first dump the dry ice on, it is super satisfying. You can start hearing it popping and cracking off of the floor, and then using a cold chisel, it comes off very, very easy. There we go. There we go. The reason I'm doing this is I want to create a spot where I can mount on some aluminum bung holes, so I have a spot to bolt up a kick plate where we can mount on our race pedals. Now moving on to those crusty front brakes. On top of the fresh rotors, we're also going to replace the brake lines with these PVC coated stainless steel braided lines. And that brings us to now. You guys remember that carbon fiber trunk we made for this thing? Well, I revamped it a little bit. I redesigned a new trunk. It was kind of an experiment for me. I've been playing around with carbon fiber, a lot of fiberglass, and a lot of composite stuff these days. And I tell you what, I came up with something pretty cool, and I can't wait to show you. Check that out. So we're still using the red and black 12 carbon. It is now all one piece, and you see that I surrounded it with carpet as well. So how I did this is I used a plug. I taped up the entire inside of the trunk and filled it up with 2-part expanding foam. Then I bodyworked that and used it as a plug, made sure it was nice and shiny, and I laid the carbon over that. That's how I got this nice shape. It was basically just like a big gray blob. And I also used that part to shape the carpet as well. It was my first time shaping carpet or shaping upholstery. I used a steamer and it worked pretty good. I'm not the best upholstery guy in the world. I still got a lot to learn, especially with composites too. I'm learning a lot of that right now. But you can see that the seal still fits. And to attach the carpet, but also make it easy to remove, I 3D printed these clips here. So just to get this thing off, all you gotta do is lift up on these. And that goes all the way around. And here we have access to our power distribution block. So yeah, I'm very excited about this project. Some of the other fiberglass and composite parts I've been messing with, you can see over here. So these are 3D printed molds I made to make fender flares for an Audi A8 project that I got going on. I've messed around with various 3D printed prototypes, and the coolest part about this whole thing is I've got my process down so I can go from a bunch of 3D printed pieces to a functional part in about 5 hours, which is pretty cool. When it comes to race cars, I think being able to work with composites is a pretty cool skill to have. Not a lot of people can do it. Yes, it takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of patience, but it is very satisfying when you can pull something like this off. Now we have a lightweight functional trunk, and we were talking about relocating the battery to the front, but we're actually going to keep it back here. But instead of mounting it right in the center, I think we're going to have plenty of room to mount it on this side. So we'll tuck it in here. I don't want to have it all the way in the front because then we got to run really large battery cable to make sure we got enough current going back to the starter. But if we mount the battery right here, man, it's only like 4 or 5 feet away from the starter location, so we can get away with like a 6-gauge wire. Now, without a steering wheel in the car, you might be wondering how I rolled it and steered it in here. Well, for the meantime, I've been using my Acura Legend steering wheel, and sure enough, it slides right on the splines. We've got a really cool steering wheel coming up for this thing. It's more NSXR style. You can see here, it just slides right on. And we got our tilting pedals down there. So one of the next things I want to do, I think I mentioned this in the time lapse or the compilation there, is I want to have a plate set up, and I might just do a cardboard template so I have a good spot to mount those pedals. I just want to make sure that there's enough room for the customer's legs. I think he's built like I am, so he's got really long legs. And even with the stock interior and the stock pedal setup, I was pretty cramped in here. I think this is a pretty good distance for us. Now, there's going to be 3 master cylinders back there, 1 for the clutch, and then 2 for the front and rear calipers. They are separate systems that I can adjust with a adjustable brake bias, which is pretty cool. In the front of the car, you might remember that we have all the components wired up already, or at least they're all terminated to their own Deutsch connector plugs. So it's time to connect all of those plugs to one main sub harness that'll eventually be connected to the main harness. I want to get a couple more components in the car before I lay out the main harness, but I'm gonna start going ahead and connecting all the ground wires. Every single one of these components has a ground that I'm gonna attach to a single ground star point, which will then go back to the battery. And I'll probably use, this is a little thick, I'll probably use 18-gauge wire for all those black ground wires. And then I think for my power wires, I think I only need like 12 of those. So if I can get this entire sub harness down to one 12-pin Deutsch connector, that's gonna be really cool. Really simplify this whole setup. That's the name of the game here. I want it to be simple and reliable. We also got to get some calipers on this car. If you guys remember the Jetta from Fast and Furious, that thing was rolling with no calipers. That's kind of how we're looking right now. So I've been rebuilding the NSX calipers. They got this really nice red powder coated finish. We got these back from Charlie Moore. It took a while, but they're worth the wait. They look awesome. I got some new brackets for the front and pad clip springs. What I am working on though is getting these piston seals replaced. I ended up trying to use the factory piston seals, or the original ones, and they started tearing in my hands, and they wanted to kind of split apart when I inserted the cylinders. So I got some new seals coming for the front. And for the rear, brake hardware is extremely hard to find for the NSX, so I might have to source some parts from Japan. Here you can see I've got some leftover clips from the front end, and yeah, they're pretty nasty. Also coming soon, we're going to install this guy right here. This is a electronic throttle body, or a drive-by-wire throttle body. This is made by Bosch. This has to be adapted to our RBC manifold. They got some adapters out there, but they're very expensive. And one issue with these drive-by-wire conversions, yeah, it's super convenient because you don't need a throttle cable, but these ones have internal gears that can sometimes be messed up, especially with the sensors in there, with the high RPM vibrations that come from a K24, especially with the balance shafts deleted. So what I'm looking to do is build a flange off of this, build a flange off of this, and kind of have an intermediate coupling there made out of silicone or rubber to kind of help dampen those vibrations so we don't have any issues or feedback problems with our fancy Bosch drive-by-wire system here. For the steering wheel, I'm not going to go too in-depth here. I don't want to reveal it quite yet, but this is a classic Momo steering wheel. That's going to be mated up to a NRG quick-release hub system. These are customer-supplied parts, and I cannot wait to install them on the car. So now you guys know what's been going on with the NSX. You know what's coming up. Another thing is we got to get some coilovers on this thing because it's kind of looking like a monster truck in here. I think the customer decided to go with S3 coilovers, so I'll probably be ordering those pretty soon. But I don't really want to set the height until I have the full weight of the engine in there. That original C30 engine paired up with the automatic transmission was a boat anchor in this thing. The car has gone on an incredible weight loss journey, and I'm really excited to see what the final weight is compared to the original factory weight. The customer also decided to shave a little bit more weight. We're going to be getting rid of the factory AC lines and the factory condensers and everything. We'll probably just get an interior blower just to get some air moving in there. It's a white car. The guy's up in Michigan. It's a race car. AC is not really 100% necessary, especially for the added cost. I'm very excited to install the new powertrain in the NSX, but we're waiting on one super critical component. the LSD. The customer wants to get one of the best LSDs out there, which is an OS Geiken LSD. They're from Japan, but to get them here and to purchase them, we're going through Turn 14, and it's an automotive parts distributor. They do mostly performance parts, and they are causing a lot of backup, a lot of issues. I'm going to give it a couple more weeks, see if the customer can get his hands on something. If not, we'll go with something else. That's the reality of project cars, though. That's why you got to kind of have multiple going at the same time if you want to successfully run a performance shop. You get these little hangups all the time, things like the engine bearings on this K20 here. A lot of times, like, dynos aren't open all the time. Machine shops can cause some serious slowdowns. And, everybody's busy. Just be happy when you get the parts or when parts are available. A lot of them are coming from overseas, so you got to pay additional charges there. The aftermarket support is pretty good for most of the classic JDM cars. However, it's not like these aftermarket performance part manufacturers are like Walmart, where they just have hundreds of these items they can spit out. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I might keep up doing the voiceover style just because it saves me a lot of time. It's still many hours to edit videos, and I'm not really getting paid for those hours. I think YouTube pays me like $150 a month, where I can make that in an hour here. So it's still labor of love. YouTube's a good advertisement for me, and I do like making videos, but right now my time is extremely important to me. I got bills to pay. I got to be able to invoice a lot of billable hours. This is not like a regular job where you just clock in, clock out, and boom, there's 8 hours right there. A lot of time goes into editing, keeping the shop clean, research, parts ordering, getting my name out there, warranting parts, fixing my mistakes, spiraling, looking for inspiration, and so on. But we're making it happen. We are now 9 months in. This is probably the fastest 9 months of my entire life. If you haven't already, it would be awesome if you could tell your friends about the channel. I'm trying to get my name out there as much as possible. I don't have Instagram or Facebook or anything, so all my business has been through word of mouth, and I've had probably about 4 or 5 people reach out from YouTube. And of course, I'll always be here to help service friends and family's vehicles. So I'll see you guys soon. If everything goes smooth, I plan on getting a couple more videos for you guys before the end of the month. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Bye-bye.